Namaskar. This is my 14th lecture on feminist theory, and this is very important for us to build up that discourse on genocide, especially Hindu genocide, on which we'll be concentrating. In this lecture, I'm going to talk about radical feminism with one prototype author, which is name of the person is Shulamith Firestone. But before that, I want to talk about Marx and then compare her. What is she saying? Remember, we talked about Marx's vision of history. According to Marx, history proceeds by the contradiction between the modes of production, the base and the superstructure. What is the base? The modes of production and the relations of production. What are the modes of production? They can be tribal, they can be feudal, they can be agricultural, and they can be capitalist. The way we produce our daily lives. And what are relations of production? Those that involve us, our relationship to each other, determined by the fundamental mode of production. For example, in an agricultural society, our relationship to each other is probably a landowner and a peasant, determined by the agricultural mode of production. In capitalist society, our relationship to each other will be determined by the fundamental mode of production. So I'm an employer, you're an employee, wage labor, because capitalism is about wage labor, no longer serfdom. This is Marx's history, and it's through the contradiction between the modes of production and the relations of production and the superstructure that society progresses. What is in the superstructure? According to Marx, everything else is in the superstructure: state, culture, religious institution, civil society, everything is in the superstructure. So the state reflects the fundamental mode of production. In agricultural system, it will be a state that reflects it. For example, in feudal system, again, there will be monarchy. What is monarchy? In Marxist definitions, monarchy is a reflection of the fundamental mode of production. In capitalist society, it will be bourgeois democracy, which is he says it is a reflection of the fundamental capitalist mode of production. What Shulamith Firestone did was he took Marx's method of dialectical evolution of society. That's why his book is called Dialectics of Sex. And on that, he says his method, I'm taking his method but not his content. What is the content that she changes? She says that the fundamental struggle is not class struggle, in other words, not a struggle to control the modes of production, but a struggle to control the modes of reproduction, labor power, because without labor power, society won't progress. And then it proceeds. Accordingly, the superstructure is a control of the modes of production. Now, what she says is that the fundamental oppression is the oppression, universal oppression of women. And on it is based the universal class oppression, race oppression, nationality oppression, all other oppressions. But the fundamental oppression is the oppression, universal oppression of women. And what is her solution? Well, it's not very much accepted in feminist theory, but her fundamental solution is through technology. She says we have to eliminate gender, those who can produce and those who cannot produce, men and women. We have to introduce artificial reproduction so that there is no gender division along the lines of those who can produce and those who cannot produce. Because like Marx said, that those who do the actual labor do not control the labor. Similarly, according to Firestone, those who reproduce do not control the modes of reproduction. Women do not control it. It's outside of their control. So once reproduction is introduced, everyone can reproduce according to what they need, according to the need of society. Now, so the household is going to change. We are going to live in communes where there's common sharing of all labor, food, shelter. Probably robots will be there. She didn't say it, I'm saying, because she envisions a sci-fi society. And children will be childcare and farming and production of food. These communes will be shared. All the labors will be shared. There will be no separate households. The adults will choose their children according to whom they like. And children up to 10 years old will be with their chosen parents. By the way, this is all artificial reproduction. And then they will go on their own. There will be no institutionalized schools. It will be learning centers. They will learn according to what they prefer or enjoy. And there'll be no wage labor. She's very Marxist in this. Just as Marx says the entire problem with capitalist alienation is wage labor. And so it's similarly with Firestone. There will be no wage labor. Work. What is work? It's necessitation. We work to earn money, but everything is going to be play. Why? Because our fundamental needs, food, shelter, clothing, will be solved. There will be no institutionalized courts because courts are oppressive. They depend on people, you have to pay money. Those who are powerful will get better justice. So there'll be only popular courts. And it will not be tied to any classes or anything. So it'll be a really communist society. There is not going to be any family. What is a basic family? According to Firestone, all the evils of society is because of the biological family, which is an egg and a sperm have to reproduce the human being. We have to break that. We have to bring in artificial reproduction. And everyone can reproduce, so there's not going to be a gender division. People will have plenty. Work will not be tied to wages. And so that the work they do is for joy, not out of necessitation, because they have to earn money or produce food through farming, etc. She is not very popular nowadays in feminist theories, mostly because she says that adult-child sexual relationship is also possible depending on the situation. And this is not acceptable by most feminists. Apart from that, her highly technologized, technical vision of society is also not acceptable to many. But that is more or less Shulamith Firestone's sci-fi vision of the future, and she is part of the 70s radical feminism. So that's my lecture for today. Namaskar.